In this video, we're going to show you how to catch big bank catfish every time fishing. All the tips, techniques, baits, and rigs you need for catfishing success every time. Tips and techniques. Catfish are bottom-dwelling, opportunistic feeders with voracious appetites. So the best tip is to always have your baits on the bottom, right in front of their face. And catfish, like most fish, prefer to feed in low-light conditions. So early morning and at dusk and all through the nighttime are always going to be prime catfish feeding time. It's when they're most aggressive pursuing prey. And you want to be fishing in the right location. Catfish most often hang out in deeper water and always around underwater submerged structure like logs, fallen trees, rock piles, ledges, points, drop-offs, and deep holes. So let's fish there. You don't need an expensive boat to catch monster catfish from the bank, but you do need to use the right baits to attract them in and be using the right gear and equipment to ensure your success every single time. So let's tackle each of those topics next. Boom! Here are the baits. First up is chicken liver, which you see wrapped in pantyhose there. I throw out the cast and watch this, folks. Boom! He smashes it immediately. Wasn't in even the water a second, and he hammered it. That's why we love chicken liver. The blood and protein content and scent and texture of chicken liver and beef liver and turkey liver, too, are one of the quintessential baits for catching big channel catfish. Next up is cut bait, which is basically just pieces of shad and bluegill and herring and other bait fish that the catfish feeds on in your natural waters, because the natural oils and the fish insides create a scent trail that disperses quickly in the water and allows the catfish to find the bait quickly. And cut bait is really good for larger rivers and reservoirs that you can reach from the bank. And a lot of catfishermen will use stink baits when all the other baits don't seem to work. And stink baits are commercially prepared baits made especially for catfish that have a very potent and pungent smell that are designed to attract them in from far away. They come in a variety of different flavors and tastes. They're usually mixed up with cheese and blood and various fish oils, and they come in dough baits, pastes, and balls. And our all-time favorite, frozen cheese-filled hot dogs, which are really great for smaller lakes and ponds for channel catfish and bullheads because of the combination of salt, fat, protein, and cheese. It absolutely makes the catfish go crazy and a work. A lot of folks dip them in garlic or strawberry Kool-Aid to even make them more enticing. And, of course, you can always use live worms and live minnows to catch channel catfish and bullhead catfish 7 days a week. Just stick them on the bottom, like we said, and you'll get them. Now, to catch the largest of catfish, the flatheads and the blues, you got to be using live bait if it's legal to use live bait in your area. Flatheads and blue catfish prefer live bluegill, perch, and shad in the 6 to 8 inch range, and you just want to hook the bait up through the front or up through the lips using an octopus circle hook, probably a 7/0 to 8/0, and that's what you're going to need to handle a big trophy cat like that. You want to hook the fish this way because that way it swims freely and looks more natural while it's hooked. Hooking the bait up front is really key because many large predatory catfish, especially the flathead, will prefer to attack their prey head first. And that way you always get a good hook set. Of course, using live bait fish will emit natural scents and vibration in the water, which the catfish will use their lateral lines, like bass do, to pick up from far distances and then hone in on the target, even in murky or muddy water, and of course at nighttime when they feed most heavily. And hey, we have some really cool unconventional baits, long-form videos in our playlists on the channel if you want to be really crazy and unique with what you offer any type of catfish. So check them out when you're done watching this video. They're pretty cool. And there's lots in there I promise you've never heard of before. And we also want to mention shrimp as bait. Shrimp has a very strong and distinct odor that catfish find very highly attractive. It works for both freshwater and saltwater catfish, and that's because it creates a scent trail in the water that they can follow. And the flavor of shrimp is also very appealing to them, which makes them more likely to bite and hold on to the bait, especially if you use rotten, moldy, old shrimp. Here are the rigs. Okay, we mentioned earlier on in the video that you've got to have the essential rigs and equipment you need to successfully catch catfish every time. And that's whether you're a seasoned pro or just a beginner. Let's walk you through all the technical know-how of what you're going to need to get to handle big catfish. First up, of course, is the catfish rod and reel. For catfishing, you want to make sure you're using a very heavy rod and a longer rod around 7 to 9 feet in length. And that's because you want to have a strong backbone on the rod. It's going to give you the strength and the flexibility you're going to need to be able to handle the larger fish. Next, you want to pair your rod with a sturdy spinning reel. And the reel has to have a good, strong drag system and a larger line capacity, which is essential for fighting bigger fish, especially if they make a run when you're battling them from shore. And you want to make sure that you spool your reel up with braided line. We recommend 30-pound line for channels and 50-pound at least for battling the larger blues and flats. Braided line is abrasion resistant and has a smaller diameter, which allows you to spool more line. Braided line is all we use because it has zero stretch and zero memory, yet is very strong and durable and sensitive where you still feel every hit. Okay, now let's talk about terminal tackle. We mentioned octopus circle hooks before in the video. Those are highly recommended for all types of catfishing because they reduce the chance of gut hooking the cat by having the hook turn into the corner of the catfish's mouth. This is going to ensure a higher survival rate for them if you do catch and release. You want to be using a 7/0 to 8/0 for larger flats and blues and a 4/0 to 5/0 for channels and bullheads. We really like the Gamakatsu Blood Red Octopus Circle Hook. They're extremely sharp and work great. Okay, now let's dive into the top 3 catfish rigs that you need when you're bank catfishing. Our favorite rig, and the one that's probably most commonly used all around the world, is a slip sinker rig, and it's also called a modified Carolina rig. It's very simple, very easy to use, and it's highly effective at reaching catfish in the deeper depths. So step by step, here's how you do it. You just slide an egg sinker onto your main line, then you thread a bright colored bead on to protect the knot. Then you tie on a heavier duty barrel swivel to the end of your main line using a uni knot. Then all you do is take about 12 to 18 inches of your leader line and you tie your octopus circle hook to it with another uni knot. Then you just attach the leader to the barrel swivel with another uni knot. And the next most common rig is the Santee Cooper rig, which is the exact same setup as the slip sinker rig we just went over, except that you add a peg float onto the leader line at a desired depth, usually about 3 to 6 inches up from your circle hook. And this is used when you want to keep the bait resting just off the bottom floor. And that's typically best when you want to fish for blues and flats. And finally, the third rig is a little bit different than the other two and is typically used for drift fishing, maybe in a deeper river. So it's called a 3-way rig. So to tie this one up, you start by attaching a 3-way swivel onto your main line with a good solid uni knot. And then you prepare about 12 to 16 inches of a dropper line and attach your sinker weight to one end of the dropper line. And then you're going to attach the other end of the dropper line to one of the 3-way swivel holes. Then you prepare about another 16 to 18 inches of leader line and attach your octopus circle hook. And then finally, you just attach the leader to the remaining eye of the three-way swivel with a good solid uni knot. And again, this rig can be used to fish all catfish species, but I think the Santee Cooper rig and the slip sinker rig will be just what you need for everyday catfishing. Okay, folks, hope you're still with us, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember one thing, if nothing else, about catfish. They have a very strong sense of smell and taste. So the stronger and meatier the baits you use, the more catfish you're going to catch. It's really that simple. And always remember to get every bait that you use right onto the bottom for every species of catfish, because that's where they hide out to stay cooler and wait around for prey in ambush mode. Happy catfishing, folks. Go get 'em, gang. Okay, folks, thanks for watching. Please like this video, hit the subscribe button before you leave, and don't forget to enable your bell notifications so you never miss another great video coming your way.